I'm going to ask some questions about box and whisker plots. What a box and whisker plot looks like, it looks like this right here. And it's got a little whisker. The median here, so I'm looking for quartiles. Q1, Q2, Q3, and of course the last quartile would be Q4 way out here. So this would be the first quartile, this would be the second quartile, the third, and the fourth. So if we have data, and I'll put some data on the board here, we're going to construct one of these box and whisker plots. And it's really easy. So let's get 10 data here. So let's go with test scores. So I've got 100, 100, 95, 94, an 88, an 85, 82, an 80, 77. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and let's say a 20. Now, what I'm going to ask is how to identify outliers or data that does not match the rest of the data. And this is a good way to do it. So I'm going to draw me a little continuum here from numbers that range all the way from 0, and I'm going to break this off, and because I don't have way down to 0, and I'll start with 10, and 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, and so on all the way. Let me just erase that so I get a better description here. So I got 0, let's do 10, increments of 10, probably a little easier. So I'll start with 20 here. So I'll do 20, and I'll do 30, I'll do 40, I'll do 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So that'll make it easier for us. So the first thing I need to do is find my median. Since I've arranged the data from large to small or from small to high, it's going to be pretty easy. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got an n that equals 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my median. So I know I've got 10 points of data. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my median is going to be in between these two numbers here. And to find my median, I'll just take those two numbers, which are 88 plus 85, and I'm going to divide them by 2. So when I do that, I've got 88 plus 85 is 173 divided by 2 gives me a value of 86.5. So that's going to be my median, is 86.5. So my median is 86.5. So I'm going to find 85 here is in the middle between 80 and 90. So just over that is going to be my median, so I can draw a line there. Now I need to find my first quartile range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the median of these data here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data points, so I'm going to have a median of 95 for that first quartile range. So I'm going to come over here, this would be my third quartile range. 95 would be right here. So I'm going to draw another line here, and 95 would be my Q3. Q2 is always going to be my median. So now I'm going to try to find Q1. So Q1 is going to be the median of my second half of my data. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I've got 5, I have an odd number. So I'm going to select my middle value, which is going to be 80. So 80 is in the middle of 85, 82, 80, 77, and 20. So I'm going to find 80, which is right here, and I'm going to draw me another line, and that's going to be Q1. So now I'm going to find my lowest data, which is 20, I'll come out here and put a point there, and my highest is 100. So I'll put a point there. Now I'm going to try to figure out where is a possible outlier. Is there data out there that doesn't match the rest of the data? And what I'm going to do is use what's called an interquartile range, an IQR. You can find this in the book. And what the IQR is the range in this box. So between Q1 and Q3, I'm going to find the range. So the smallest number on Q1 is going to be 80. So I'm going to take 80 and I'm going to subtract 80 by 95 because that was my other Q3. So 95 minus 80 equals my IQR. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to put in 95 minus 80, which gives me an IQR of 15. Now, John Tukey was a statistician, and he said, I can identify outliers really easy with a method, and I'm going to call it casting a net of 1.5 IQRs. So I'm going to take 1.5 IQRs, and that's going to be my net that I'm going to find outliers. So I'm going to take 15, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So 15 divided by 2 equals 7.5. So I'm going to take 15, my IQR, and I'm going to add 7.5 to that, and that's going to give me my casting net, my Tukey casting net. And it's going to catch data that belong in the rest of the data. Anything outside the casting net, we're going to consider to be an outlier. So let's do that right now. I've got 15 plus 7.5 gives me a grand total of 22.5. So 22.5 is going to be my net. So if I stood right here at Q1 and I casted a net out 22.5 numbers from Q1, which Q1 is going to be 80. So Q1 equals 80 right here. I'm going to cast my net out. So I've got 80 plus 22.5 would be equal to 102 point, okay. So I'm standing at the wrong, I'm sorry, I'm doing this a little bit backwards. So I'm going to stand at Q3. So Q1 is actually 80. I'm going to stand at Q3, which is 95. I'm going to add that. So I'm going to add 22.5. So I've got 95 as my Q3 equals 95. So I'm going to add to 95. So I've got 95, which is Q3. I'm going to stand here and I'm going to cast my net out. So I've got 95 plus 22.5, and that's going to equal 117. I don't have any data beyond 100. So now I know that 117.5 is going to capture all the data. There's no outliers to the right. Now to the left, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stand at Q1 and I'm going to cast my net out. So what I got to do at Q1 is I have to subtract, because anything above the median is going to be plus, anything below the median is going to be negative. So I'm going to stand at Q1, which is 80, and I'm going to subtract. So I've got 80 minus 22.5, which is my Tukey casting net, which is 1.5 IQRs, or interquartile ranges, and I'm going to cast my net, and I should get a value of 57.5, which is about right here. So my net is going to reach down to 57.5. So anything to the left or lower than this value of 57.5 is going to be considered an outlier. So that's how we're going to find different outliers. So that should help with the homework. Let me do another